Hey guys, Sam here along with Dozer.
What's going on?
We just finished recording our 50th episode and realized it was our 50th episode.
After we got done.
So we're recording a little intro here for you. We want to thank everybody for sticking with us for this whole adventure.
Yeah, we're floored when people talk to us about it. We're just absolutely amazed that people want to listen to us make mouth noises on the internet. And we just appreciate it. When we started this, I don't think we really knew what to expect.
But we have had an absolute blast this whole time recording these things. Over the past few months, we've kind of slowed down on recording them. Well, life's been getting in the way, but we want you guys to know we appreciate each and every one of you for sticking along with us and listening to us just make absolute asses of ourselves on the internet.
Yes.
But we just hope you guys enjoy this episode. Just like them all, we kind of get off the rails a little bit, but we hope you enjoy our 50th short story long episode.
Yes, we didn't realize till the end, but Sam went to save. He goes, "Dude, this was number 50." I was like, we got to say something, just to recognize it. So
guys, thanks for being with us for 50 episodes.
Yeah, here's the 50 more. It'll only take us 400 years to record 50 more.
All right, guys, enjoy.
So yeah.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Short Story Long podcast. I'm your host, Sam Derrickson, joined by my co-host, Andrew Dial.
Hey, you guys.
How's it going?
Oh, it's going pretty good.
We're back for the time being for a little bit. We just haven't really had a chance to get together to record one of these here for a while. And so here we are. We're doing the thing. We got some stuff to talk about. We got some emails from one very loyal listener, my sister, so I got to go through those. And then give you an update on what we got going on between us both, and just give you a little bit more to listen to when you're out and about doing your stuff for the day.
Well, and I leave for my hunt in Alaska, excuse me, in a couple days, and I told Sam, I was like, if we don't record one before I go, it's going to be like a month.
Right.
Before we get one put down. And the guys I'm going with, I don't know if they'll come to a podcast or not. I'll at least have a podcast on it. I think it'd be awesome to get Ross to come do it at least. It would be, I don't know if Ryan would or not.
He's busier than Boss Man. There's no way he's coming down.
And it'd just be great to have a recap, have it, recorded for
posterity.
And I think we are videoing it.
You got some GoPro action going?
Well, Ross has this super expensive camera and tripod and a drone, and so we'll see what happens there.
Good deal. I'm looking forward to that.
So
we spent some time talking Monday night about the whole trip and stuff you had planned out and everything, and we'll probably get into that here in a little bit. But first, I'd like to read some emails from my sister. So I guess our hiatus has really given her time to get caught up on these.
Okay, you're welcome.
So I'm going to go in the order she sent them to me, which is not in order. But so episode 17, the worst road trip ever with Cody. So what was that one, the worst road trip ever? That was coming back from Moab with the toter. Okay. She says, my quotes side of the story from the traumatic WM moment. Oh, Walmart moment.
Warren Mom?
Walmart moment.
Okay.
When you were little is exactly how you said it, but please remember it was traumatic being called your mother at 16. You brat.
Apparently brat is a good thing now.
Is it?
The kids, yeah.
The kids these days.
Yeah, it's so brat.
Okay, let's not get into Gen Z and beyond. Are they Gen A now?
I don't know. Cap.
Anyway, that stuff just. Well, I'm an old man. Like you darn kids and your words.
Liberal language.
She says, "What weirdo thought up an RV toilet grinder.
I got poop here on my hand.
Did they not understand the expression dropping logs isn't literal? That trip sounded horrible, so discouraging. I would have totally said I told you so too. Taking the RV again? So yeah, that trip was very traumatic. And then you and I had talked about the trip to the Bahamas in kind of a little bit of passing the other night.
Did he ever text you back on your question?
He did. So super long story short, we recorded video of this whole trip, and like I said, I'd like to get Cody down here and maybe have Scott Blessing call in and talk about this whole trip because it was a doozy. It'd be nice to have it, recorded, our experience. But when we did this, we were all broke as shit. Like none of us had a pot to piss in, and we had these GoPro memory cards. Like at the time, a 64 gig SD card was like $100, so we had all this money wrapped up in these memory cards and these GoPros, and we took a bunch of footage, and we weren't good with editing and stuff. So we gave it all of our stuff to a guy. He was going to edit a video for us. And we were thinking, a few $100 should get the job done. And the guy, which nothing against, video editing and how much time it takes. Like I realize now after the fact, like there's quite a bit that goes into it. But he's like, yeah, you can, I got the video done or whatever. You owe me $3,000. And we fell out. We had no idea like it would be even close to that much. And we're like, we're not paying $3,000. Like that's not going to happen. And he's like, well, then you're not getting your video. I've got, a bunch of time wrapped up in it, whatever. And he kept all our memory cards. So we don't even have the pictures, like all your digital camera pictures that we took and the video from the GoPros. He has it all, had it all. And we're just like, whatever, not paying $3,000 to get our, $200 worth of media back or whatever. And just left it at that. And that was what, 2014 or something like that, or, a decade ago.
Oh, yeah, 14 or 13. It'd have been 13.
But anyway, doesn't matter. And so in thinking about it, I was like, I wonder if that guy still has that media or that video or whatever, if he got mad and deleted it all. I don't know. So I text Cody. I said, hey, look into this, because it would be like, now that we are more adult than we were and we have a little bit more disposable income, like I would pay, split that bill. I would pay pretty decent money to have that video. And I tried to, gaslight Boss Man into saying, well, that'd be a really sweet anniversary present for your wife if you got that done, And he's like, oh yeah, that sounds great, So he's supposed to be looking into that, and that would be really cool. So.
Okay. I like it.
All right, let's go to the next one. So she responded to our latest episode 49, tractors and flurries.
Okay.
She said, regarding the clay pigeon shooting, it's not at all terrifying to hear there's a ton of people gathering with guns and no one there knows what's going on or how it all works. I'm so glad to hear that Dozer's dad is doing well after having a heart attack. And the glass marble trade is 100% controlled by the glass marble mafia. We don't talk about it. Just shut up and buy the marbles and display them proudly in your home, or the mafia will come for you. I 100% agree with you. God made doctors, effing use them. Great updates. Thanks, guys. Okay, episode 18, the worst wheeling trip ever. This was the January.
Are we going to have any best of? The best stories don't.
So, sidebar, I'm reading The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
Okay.
And he talks about as humans, we are programmed to solve problems, and we are happiest when we're solving problems, and choose your hard, don't, aspiring for this super easy life is going to suck when you get there. And there's no such thing as getting there, because as soon as you have the $100,000 a year job, now you want 150. And as soon as you have the big house. Now you want a pool. And as soon as you have the hot wife, then you're going to want something else. And like this whole thing, like you're chasing what you think you want, and you never get what you want because you always want. And he said that real happiness in life comes from solving problems. So like, you know, and then like you and Boss Man talk about like choose your hard, and you know, that's good problems to have and stuff. So he's like, like instead of the problem being like you can't walk up and down stairs because you're fat, how about having the problem getting up early and going to the gym? Like that's a better problem to have. And it's like basically you just focus on more better problems to solve, I guess.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
That like life is a collection of I remember where I was going with this story. Anyway, that life is a collection of extremes because that's what's memorable. And in our world today, the only thing you see is the influencer with extreme wealth and extreme hot wife and extreme car and extreme. And the media has made the extreme normal. So normal seems like you're failing when in reality you're in the middle of the bell curve. And if you can't be at the top of the bell curve to be special and, you know, have the extreme awesome stuff, then you settle for the bottom of the bell curve to be exceptionally bad. And that way you get attention and validation. And like, that's why so many people are changing their gender and dyeing their hair purple to be on the extreme bottom end of the bell curve, just to be accepted and different and exceptional.
So this book has been around a long time. Did they edit it to throw in all this newest transgender and stuff?
No, that's just what I got out of reading.
Fair enough. That sounds like an awesome book. I need to read that, I guess.
Well, I'm going to read that on the way to Florida.
I thought it was kind of a guide on being a lazy piece of shit, but it kind of...
It's not at all. It's the opposite of that.
I like it.
I'm reading that on the way to Florida and back, and you're taking Why Gary Why with you to Alaska, and then we'll switch.
Okay.
So anyway, back to...
Did the one reader, did you ever send him Big Sid's Vincati book that I sent you?
I don't remember if I did or not. I remember you sent it to me.
Or something from T-Town, the farms.
I don't. I think I posted it on Facebook, but if you're listening to this and I didn't get the book link or whatever sent to you, reach back out and we'll make that happen. So episode 18, worst wheeling trip ever. Love the clapping sound effects. LOL. All the getting stuck and freezing cold stuff sounds awful, and yet you guys were willing to keep going. That's true passion, man. I don't know if it's so much passion
called surviving.
As surviving. Like no one's coming to rescue us. Like, we got to get this done. We're either going to spend the night out here or we're going to get it done. So, episode 19, Camaros in college. Dozer, are Thursday nights still work on hot rod nights with your father-in-law? That sounds great.
Not anymore, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, not so much.
Nope.
Lots changed in the past year.
That's for sure.
So interested in knowing what the dropout rate is for that school Dozer and Clayton dropped out of.
I don't know. I'm sure it's on the internet.
Or was it a hypothetical school?
No, it was the engineering school.
Oh, the engineering.
In Illinois, Carbondale.
That's right. Yeah.
We became what the Chinese call as a statistic.
Statistically significant.
Yeah.
And then the last one, episode 20, Team Lake Roach. Love the shout out to find someone to help Alan at the museum. I guess he needed somebody. I don't know.
I see that dude all the time.
Yeah.
I can never think of his name. I always want to say hi, but I can't remember. I just have to call him Mr. Wessendorf.
Say, hey, man. Thank you for all your public service announcement and that gasoline will get rid of crabs.
I gotta go back and listen to these.
We need to just start over. Just listen to them from the beginning.
We need to find somebody to edit and do like the best of moments.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We should do that for sure. Slap bets, 3 laughing face emojis. And LOL, Jason always ruins the punchline. He does.
Yeah, he's terrible.
I am getting to it. Calm down, man.
Give me a minute.
And then, did Jason get a girlfriend after you pimped him out on the air? He did not.
No.
Unfortunately, he did not. All of the ladies that listen to this podcast, which is like you and like Dozer's wife sometimes.
And that lady that works at Pals Electric that randomly said something.
Yeah, they're all in happily committed relationships. So sorry, Jason.
Yeah, speaking of Jason and Choose Your Hard, unrelated, I got a friend who shall remain nameless who always throws around the more money, more problems guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided if I can think of it every time I see him, I'm going to go, well, if it isn't Mr. Less Money, Less Problems.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I like that.
Does that correlate? If you have more money, you have more problems. So if you have less money, you have less problems?
It's inversely proportional. It has to be.
I would say it's more money, different problems. But anyway,
Yeah.
it's different. Life. So we went to the Heartland Dental, which if listeners don't know, there's a dentist from hillbilly nowhere that started a dental company that basically you sign your dentist up. You, as a dentist, you sign up, they take care of payroll, HR, getting supplies. You just be a dentist. And it's kind of like a franchise type deal.
Mm-hmm.
And they had their like 25th anniversary, and he like gave a speech, and in a speech he talked about your day is full of problems. Your day always has 100 problems. Just pick better problems to work on.
Right.
Which is kind of what you said.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, you do need to read that book. Because like
I do, yeah.
well you turned me on to that Dead Bedroom Fix, and like
Okay.
halfway through I'm like, this is some serious gourmet shit.
right.
And so like last
Are
night,
we reading books now?
well, I listened to Dead
Well,
Bedroom,
I
but
listen to most of my books, but
I'm physically reading a physical, and yes, so to bring it up, yes, I am trying to actively read more.
you have to go through my Audible, man. I got some bangers.
But like I do like audiobooks, but I find that I get distracted easily. I gotta go back and like
that makes
re-listen. Whereas when I'm physically reading the physical copy, like I'm focused on what I'm reading, and then I can narrate it in different people's voices. Like sometimes Morgan Freeman narrates it, sometimes Mike Rowe narrates it. Like it just depends.
Do you have like some Samuel L. Jackson? Chapter 2, motherfucker.
Well, Samuel L. Jackson is narrating a lot of The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck because it is an extremely vulgar book. And like
nice.
I find myself I'm like laying in my bed reading this book, and I just start laughing because there's some funny fucking shit in it. Which, did you listen to the whole podcast of that unsubscribe thing for the
Yes, I did.
yeah. So like they were talking about reading that book and like busting out laughing reading that book right there. So what started it was like I read on the airplane because I don't pay for Wi-Fi because I'm a cheap bitch, and so like it's a nice way to pass the time on the airplane. And I flew a month ago to Florida, and I'm flying again next weekend to Florida, so like might as well read a book. And like I went through more pages than I thought I would go through on the last flight, and like I'm like the last 45 minutes of the flight, I'm like, okay, now I have no book to read. So I started like reading the appendix and like the
Like the old days of the internet when you took a crap, you had to read the back of the shampoo bottle.
Yeah. And so anyway, and then I sent you and Ryan some videos of like some veteran like interview type stuff. And right, wrong, or indifferent, when they interview these veterans, they're like, yeah, so I wrote a book about it, and you can get it. It's called this, this, and this, and you can get it's on Amazon, blah, blah, blah. And so I caved and I ordered the Luckiest Man in the World, which was written by a guy who survived D-Day and a bunch of other battles throughout World War II. That was like, he like multiple times he's like, I should be dead, like that should have killed me or whatever. And that sounded interesting, so I ordered that book. And then Lucas Prupp sent me the link to that podcast with that guy. What's his name? How do you even say his name?
Plachette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Jody Plachette, I guess. If you don't recall, there's a video every Father's Day that goes around like Father of the Year, whatever. Back in 88 or 83 or whatever, there was a 6-year-old kid who was sexually abused by his karate teacher and then kidnapped. And when he was, he got, arrested or whatever, and they flew him across the country to go stand trial. And the father of the kid that was kidnapped met him in the airport, and he was on a payphone. There's on a live TV camera. He turned around from the payphone and shot the dude in the head, killing him. And he was not sentenced to any jail time. He had probation and community service because the judge was basically like, you did the world a favor. And, back in the 80s, you could get away with a lot more. And so anyway, the kid that was kidnapped, he wrote a book called Why Gary Why. And then after listening to that podcast where they interviewed him, I decided to read it. So I ordered it, and Dozer's going to take it with him.
And I kind of knew about it. Like it's, I don't know, it's like dad, white person, gun person, like internet meme knowledge about it, but like you don't really know about it.
Right.
And I like tried to talk to my wife about it. I was like, have you she's like, no. And it's like, oh, okay. So like people don't. So it's going to be interesting to read it. It kind of, having young kids kind of woke me up a little bit to, that stuff happens, but like, you don't think about it, I guess. Mm-hmm. So, it's pretty interesting. They say in this book, when they were talking about on the podcast, they say, in the book, he sprinkles in kind of how to prevent or keep an eye out or notice if your kid's getting groomed, basically. Right. He said he couldn't write. You can't really write exactly what to look for because then it kind of becomes a how to groom children book. And we've always joked about that because I'm in like kind of half-ass in charge of the Boy Scouts. And plus for the Catholic Church now you have to take a class called like Protecting God's Children. And they're literally like how to groom a child classes because I guess that's how you learn to spot it is by them teaching you or something. I don't know. But like all the dads at, Boy Scouts kind of joked like that was more of a how to than how not to, you know? And it's kind of strange, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. While we're talking about books, first off, do you have any interest in reading Big Sid's Venkati?
Sure.
Because like I didn't believe in reading essentially, and my grandma gave me that book, and she gave it to me on Christmas Eve.
Okay.
At her house, we had Christmas, and while everybody was opening gifts, I just read the first couple pages and didn't put it down. I stayed up until 3 a.m. and finished the book. And I'm not a strong reader. Like I don't even believe in reading.
So I was asked this when I got my haircut the other day, like, oh, you're reading? Like you're a reader? And so do I identify as a reader? I do not. In school you got points for reading, and like obviously it's a huge life skill they teach you at a young age. And I actually used to love to read when I was in grade school. And so whatever year, and like I read,
you gotta get them AR points, gotta get them pizzas.
Yeah. What Scholastic Book Fair was like my favorite time of year or whatever. So anyway, like library card, like I'd ride my bike to the library and just sit and read books in the library. You know what I mean?
You didn't have the internet.
No, it was before the internet. But anyway, so I think it was 2001 or 2000 or 2001. So I'd have been 10 or 11 years old. Harry Potter came out. The very first book, Sorcerer's Stone. My aunt in California bought which probably, if I still had it, would probably be worth a couple $100, a original first edition Sorcerer's Stone Harry Potter book. And I think I read the first chapter, and my dad burst into my room because
witchcraft.
He found out that I was reading it, and he's like, "We won't be having any of this bullshit in my house." He didn't say that. I can't remember exactly what he said. Basically, he threw a huge hissy fit that we had a book about wizards and witchcraft, and it's Satan worshiping bullshit, and he took it out of my hands and fucking took it out in the yard and burned it.
I cannot wait for your sister's fucking email on this subject.
and have not up until here recently didn't pick up a book since.
Was that like a subconscious thing, or
Probably like, well, if I can, like, I just was done. I was just done with reading. Like, I was done with it. And then
it's like masturbation. You'll go blind if you read too much.
yeah. And then so I was like, oh, video games are fun. Then I became a nerd. And
So instead of reading Harry Potter, you're just busting a cap on gangsters on video games, and your dad's just like, this is the way. This is okay. Don't need those devil books.
anyway, it's interesting situation. So, like I had, avid listener of, Ramsey Solutions, all kinds of his products. And so I ordered, what's the name of that? Everyday Millionaires or whatever, Total Money Makeover, and listened to those. And, in the tool truck, like I started listening to a bunch of podcasts, like got tired of listening to the same music over and over. It's like started listening to podcasts, listen to Dave Ramsey, listen to John Deloney show. Then like, oh, we have these books, like buy the books, listen to the audio book. And like, well, I can gain a lot of knowledge. And it actually, it started with Sell or Be Sold.
Oh, that's a good book.
I listened to that.
Yeah.
And
Be Obsessed or Be Average is good too.
So anyway, like I was like, for right, wrong, or different, but I started listening to books and gained interest in reading books again because I had these books sitting here. And I got one from the John Deloney show called Come As You Are that he recommends like every other episode. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to read that. Just like to help my own knowledge because it's not available on audiobook. And like I read like a couple chapters and then put it down. And then like when we went to Texas last year for Snap-on, I read like half of it and then put it down, never picked it up. And then I read a romance novel at Amanda's house because she told me that I couldn't because like I'm like, she'll be reading a book and I'll be like playing on my phone. She's like, you need a hobby. Like you should read a book. And I'm like, what am I going to read? She's like, I got a whole bookshelf full of books. So I picked out the thinnest book and she's like,
this one got pictures.
And she's like, you don't even know how to read, like just trolling my ass. And so she's like, I bet you can't read that this week. And it was like one of the weekends we just sat and didn't do anything. So I read the whole romance novel. She's like, damn, I guess you do know how to read. Like, oh, they do teach you something, Matt Toon,
Oh, gee, Manelli.
So then when we went to Florida for this last tool show, I read the rest of Come As You Are. And now I've been like, I enjoy, like once I start, like I enjoy it, but like just getting started, I'm like, I don't like, but like if I pick it up and like read 2 paragraphs, like now I'm finishing the chapter. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like I'll be like, well, every night I'm going to read a chapter. So I've been doing that on this subtle art book. So let's not turn this into a book podcast.
It's too late. You're gonna have to name this episode Dozer and Samuel's
book club.
So the next book you need to look into that I think you would really enjoy is Atomic Habits.
Okay, that one's popped up on my Spotify a few times.
Very, very good. It's about making how small changes add up to make a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
So they give examples in there. One of them I can remember off the top of my head is like the British cycling team gets their ass whooped all the time. And they like can't figure out why they're always getting their ass whooped. So they hire some dude who makes all these small changes. Like he goes and changes like the flooring in the trailers they haul the bikes in so there's less dust to get like in the gears and stuff. Changes the bed sheets of the athletes so they sleep better. Changes like the lube they use on the chains. Like just went through and just optimized every little nitpicky detail. And they went on to like the next tour day whatever, tour day liberal Europe. They dominated.
Okay.
And that was one of the examples, but they have all kind of examples about how small changes in your life can make a big impact. So they're saying, just another example, like if you want to become a runner, don't get up tomorrow and run. For a week, set your alarm, get up, walk around the house, go back to bed. Next week, get up, walk around the house, put your shoes on. Take your shoes off, go back to bed. The next week, walk out the front door, walk down your driveway, go back inside. And eventually, you'll just get in a habit and you just slowly go a little further every day. And before you know it, you're running. So,
Well, thankfully, I don't want to become a runner, so.
well, it's something. All right, enough with the books. So we've probably lost every single. Do our listeners know how to read?
Yeah. Who knows?
I guess write in if you know how to read. If you don't, blink twice.
I was listening to a podcast. I think it was the micro podcast, whatever it's called. Anyway,
The
way I heard it. Yeah. And he's like, it's one of the episodes, like him and his producer just going back and forth. And they're like, do you think our listeners want to like actually hear us say this? And so Mike goes, all right, if you're out there and you don't like what we're saying, let us know right now. We're waiting. I'm looking at my phone. And they wait like 10 seconds, like, oh, guess we're good. And they keep going. I'm like, I like that.
So, I'd like to also add, so my son is almost 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to add a section to this show called Shit Wyatt Says.
Which I think that'll be great.
Because this dude, he just cracks me up all the time.
And disclaimer, like every dad or mom thinks their kid is just the, brightest, greatest, funniest, everything in the world. And like, oh, look, my kid can like stand on his hands. Like, wow. Like not impressive to the rest of the world, but he has told me some shit that's Wyatt has said that just makes me freaking laugh. And then like Wyatt has said shit to me that I'm just like, did you just hear your freaking kid just now what he just said? Like it's hilarious. Like the dude is funny.
Yeah. So the first one I had in my memory was we did a parade. Jedco like advertised. We had the van, the parade, hand out candy and stuff.
Yep.
Never done a parade before. Our new sales guy is a recreation major.
Okay.
And like parades is his specialty.
Okay.
So he's like,
I went to school for this
yeah,
shit.
essentially, yes. Like he's got like mathematic equations on how much candy you need, based off of distance, speed, the temperature outside. Like it's like a thing, right?
Okay.
Like, yeah. So Wyatt says, well, we had the kids walk in the parade and hand out candy. And Wyatt said, I want to get a t-shirt cannon and shoot candy at people. And Laren said, well, that don't you think that'd be dangerous? He goes, yeah, dangerous, the secret recipe for it. He's like, that's why it'd be fun.
Yeah.
So that was funny. And then the other morning I tried to get him out of bed. And I said, Wyatt, wake up. Why? I said, I got to go to work. Why you got to go to work? I said, so I have money to pay for this house you sleep in. You already bought this house. I said, no, I owe the bank for this house. And I said, I won't miss much money. And he kind of sits up in bed. He goes, just pay it off. You got the money. I said, no, I don't have the money. He's like, well, get the money. And I said, how do you think I should get the money? Well, go to work. I said, exactly. Get out of bed.
Pay it off.
Yeah, just pay it off. You got the money.
Just write a check.
Yeah, right. Oh, shoot. So
he said some shit the other day. We were out shooting guns, and I was just like, wow, dude, for real? Like, when I get to your house, Emma is beating the absolute shit out of him with a foam sword, and like, mom's gone, dad, no fucks given. Just like, let me know if there's blood. It's fucking hilarious.
Oh, geez. Yeah, kids are wild as hell. But we leave in a couple days for the Alaska hunt. So last weekend we went for a hike through the woods. One of the guys we're going with, his dad has a couple 100 acres they deer hunt on, and we figured it up if we walk all the way across it and all the way back is 5 miles.
Okay.
we'd have to go through some of the neighbors like down a road or something, but we'd get 5 miles, which we have to be 5 miles from the road to hunt. So we load up our gear, binocular harness, pistol, packs. We bring food. We're going to eat along the way, like, because we're bringing dehydrated food. So we're going to rehydrate some food and eat, like, actually do the thing. And it was good because, like, we found out, like, the way I was going to carry my gun wasn't going to work. So we had to redo it. The way Ross was going to do something wasn't going to work. And it was great. We got, the way I was going to carry, we're bringing little inflatable rafts. The way I was going to carry my oars didn't work. Like, I had to change, like, it was really good. Well, I was under the understanding we were staying on the mowed paths. Some of these mowed paths hadn't been mowed in 2 or 3 years. I was wearing shorts. So a week before we leave for this hunt, I get like stage 10 poison ivy.
Yeah.
And I will tell you right now, if you go to Dollar General in the poison ivy section, there's something called like extreme poison ivy treatment. The best $7 I ever spent in my entire life.
Really?
You will not itch for 8 hours after using it.
Very nice to know.
So
I'm not allergic to poison ivy, so kudos to you for having that plight in life. But
So I hadn't really, is that a light skinned person or thing or what?
I don't know. I have no idea. And like I know several people that I talk to, like, yeah, I can roll around naked in the stuff and it doesn't bother me.
The only time I've ever got it is in between my fingers.
Okay.
So I've never really got it. So I was like, I don't get poison ivy. And I do. So then I got looking back when I was in 8th grade, my legs got so ate up by, I thought, mosquitoes. But looking back, it was fucking poison ivy.
Okay.
It just went untreated for like 3 months. Like, my legs were like a bloody mess.
Okay.
And
Because you kept itching it.
I kept itching it and stuff. And everybody thought, because it happened again, they're like bumps. Well, poison ivy can be like a bumpy rash. And my parents just thought it was mosquito bites. And I remember like 3 months, my legs were just ruined. So yeah, hindsight's 2020.
Yeah. Would you care to tell the listener what the average weight of your pack is that you're cruising around with?
So right now, that's not where I thought you were going with this, so I'll go there myself. But first, the pack. So most people, backcountry hunting is a whole genre of life for people. Like,
a lifestyle, if you will.
they cut their toothbrushes in half. They will spend
For weight.
$1,000 on a sleeping bag that weighs 2 ounces less than the $200 one. Clothes, everything, lightweight. I mean, they make lightweight belts, like for your waist, and it's a whole genre of hunting.
Subculture.
Because like there's like you're hunting, like backpacking, hiking. Like if you draw your Venn diagram,
Okay.
and you got hunters, backpackers, and then
Hikers.
what we're doing is like in the middle. And then now we're in
Survivalists.
Now we're in rafting because we're bringing pack rafts,
Okay.
which is a whole hobby genre in itself. So Venn diagram that bitch up into there, and we're right in the middle of all this.
Yeah.
And it's all extremely expensive.
Of course.
Like Gen 2 Hemi building expensive,
Of course.
as you noticed the other night.
Yeah. Tell the listener what you have in your hiking boots.
No, I will not.
Okay.
So it's
To protect the innocent.
I've paid less for vehicles than what
Considerably less.
I paid for my boots, which isn't really saying much.
Yeah.
Honestly, but irregardless, it's a shameful amount. My wife, when she found out, told me I had to be buried in them.
Okay.
So, I'm part of this like lightweight lifestyle. So, your average backcountry hunter is like 160 pounds, and they shoot for like a 40-pound pack
Okay.
to go backcountry.
Okay.
So I'm 240 pounds. Ryan's in his 200s. Ross is 180. We're all pretty big dudes. And our packs, with how we're doing it, is going to be around 80 pounds.
Plus.
So, and we've been practicing. I think I've walked, I've got an app on my phone to keep track. I've walked like 120 miles since April.
Okay.
And started with 45 pounds and ended with 100.
Mm-hmm.
So we would go 7, 8 miles with 100 pounds. It sucked, but like, I think we're getting tougher. So we're going to go up there and they say the tundra is like bowling balls in a swimming pool is what it's like walking across.
Okay.
Because it's wet, it's permafrost. So
Okay.
however many inches down, it's always frozen.
Okay.
And the top is got standing water on it with like moss humps.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's supposed to be absolutely miserable.
So-
so like dudes that are like, so I talked to one guy who's hunted all over the world. He said it was the most grueling physical hunt he's ever been on in his life.
All right. So I had a customer talk about how jealous he was that you're going.
Yeah.
And he's like, "That's something I'd love to do. Like, that sounds amazing." And I was like, yeah, maybe I'm just a bitch. But literally every single part of this adventure sounds fucking awful, except for the part where you pull the trigger and kill a caribou. Because, and so you may have to chime in here on this, but it's like, all right, we're going to go kill some shit. So like in Illinois, you just put some fucking hoodies on and you walk out in the woods and you just have a seat and you kill some shit. Well, this is, all right, so we're going to get in an airplane. You leaving from St. Louis?
Yes.
So you're in an airplane and you're going to fly.
With a gun.
With a gun.
With 2 guns.
Yeah. You're going to fly to Fairbanks.
We need to talk about my pistol marksmanship before this.
Oh, we will. We will. So how long of a flight is it from St. Louis to Fairbanks?
Well, we go to Denver first, which is like nothing.
Okay.
And then it's like 13 hours or 15 hours from Denver. It's something like that.
It's a long way. So that part sounds like it sucks. Then you get to Fairbanks and you rent a truck, which sounds pretty simple, straightforward, no big deal. And you go shopping, go get your snacks and your whatever you need for your adventure that you didn't bring with you. Your 100-pound pack of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then you drive. And it's not just around the block. You're not just taking a little trip from Effingham to St. Elmo. You're driving down a gravel road along the Alaskan pipeline. How many miles?
So it's 250 miles before we can start hunting, and then like another 200 miles of road we can hunt along.
So essentially, you're gonna get in a truck and drive 12 hours down a gravel road. That part sounds terrible.
They say it's absolutely the best part of the trip.
Is it?
Because you go through the Brooks Mountain Range, and they said it's absolutely amazing.
So the best part of an awful trip. That's like
Okay.
this is like
Good
this is the worst. This is the best part of the colonoscopy. Like,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying?
Fair
So,
enough.
so then you're alongside a impenetrable steel tube full of flammable liquid that you cannot shoot a gun next to for a radius of 5 miles. Makes total sense. So you're going to hike your big packs full of shit. A minimum of 5. And I was having this discussion. You got to walk 5 miles away from your truck. You're literally your only lifeline. Mm-hmm. 5 miles away from there. And like, what happens if like you're still in the middle of this bog and you're like, well, shit, that mountain over there looks like where we want to set up to kill a caribou. So now you like practice to walk 5-6 miles. Well, actually another 8 miles is where we actually want to set up camp and shoot this fucking caribou. Is that a consideration? Like, have we talked about that?
That's the thing. Like, we could be
Okay.
deeper in.
Yep. Okay. So then you set up a tent and you live in a tent for the next 10 days, in the middle of the Arctic wilderness.
Which 10 days is worst case.
Above the Arctic Circle, where it doesn't get dark, by the way. So good luck sleeping.
Yeah.
And then
I listened to one podcast. They said to bring Benadryl
okay,
to help you sleep, and I guess you can have some allergies that you don't even know you have because there's all kind of different.
Like, I'm allergic to this weed that doesn't exist below the Arctic fucking circle.
Right, yeah.
So,
Yes.
so then, like, you know, miracles of miracles, a herd of caribou comes fucking,
The
you know,
grace of God.
yeah, it comes strolling off the hill in front of you, and you know, you all three line up a perfect shot, and you just drop three caribou in one fell swoop. Right, that's ideal situation. You know,
Which can happen. Yes.
could happen.
Yeah.
But like, this is the ideal situation. Like, that is
This is the
that
best
is
case.
that is the cool part of the trip. Like, great. All right, so now we are between 5 and 15 miles away from our truck. We have the 90 pounds of shit that we brought with us, and then we just killed a 1,200-pound animal. So
Well, they're not that much. They're like 500 pounds.
okay, so we just killed 1,500 pounds of animals between the three of us.
Yes.
Now what the fuck do we do? We got to butcher these sons of bitches right here, right now, right in front of God and everybody.
Yes.
And then whatever you want to bring back with you now, and so I was telling this other guy that I was having this discussion with, like, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity trip. Like, you have a enormous amount of money wrapped up in this, and you had a bobcat mounted. So if you don't have your caribou mounted on a once in a lifetime hunting expedition, I think you're fucking up, right? So now we got to hike our happy asses all the way back, however far we hiked before, and pray to God the fucking homeless didn't steal our fucking truck.
I don't think there's any homeless above the Arctic Circle, but
There's a whole town, you said. There's a whole ass town.
yeah, 200 miles away from where you start hunting.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway.
I mean, we're going to be living like we're homeless.
Anyway, so man, hopefully the truck's still there, and then you got to drive 12 hours back to Fairbanks, and then figure out who you can beg, borrow, and steal some boxes and some dry ice from to ship your fucking meat home.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah, you're on it.
pay some guy named Jim Bob to fucking mount your caribou skull and give him some cash and hope he doesn't just run away with your money and your caribou mount. And then you see it next year when you go there at the outfitters, like, oh, we got a whole wall of caribou heads right here.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, so the whole trip sounds just absolutely awful.
So that's why we're doing it.
Yeah.
So, I'm trying to think how to word this correctly. So, I did not know there was 3 different types of fun.
Okay. Okay.
So-
Okay. We're getting philosophical here. All right.
So, I didn't realize this until I ran across it on the internet. And maybe you know about this, maybe you don't.
I don't.
because Ross knew about it. So, you got type 1 fun. Type 1 is fun shit that is fun on purpose. Getting ice cream, going bowling with your friends, going to see a movie.
Shooting flurries at the
Yeah,
Sporting Clay's place.
that's type 1 fun. You meant to have fun, you had fun, it was fun.
Okay.
There's type 2 fun. So type 2 fun is where you got to work for it. So they say examples like running a marathon or doing this hunt or getting your GTX back on the road. It sucks. You know it sucks. When you get done, you're like, that was kind of fun.
Okay.
Your power tour could be considered type 2 fun. You're hot, you're sweaty. You had to eat outside, no air conditioning, there was bugs, which we ate outside on the deck last night, just covered in mayflies. And, you know, I was just like, Sam would lose his shit right now.
Yeah.
I hate eating outside. My wife would eat outside every day of the year for some reason. I don't know, like 1,000 degrees outside. Let's eat outside. Like, you're out of your mind.
I don't. Now, let me clarify. I don't hate heating outside. I hate being uncomfortable. So if it's comfortable, let's eat outside by all means. Like, there's a patio. It's 70 degrees outside. It's, you know, evening time. The sun's going down. Put my ass outside for sure. But it's 85 degrees and the ice in my iced tea is melted before it hits my fucking table. Fuck yourself. Put me back inside in the air conditioning.
Right. So
Anyway,
your trip, your power tour thing, that's type 2 fun. Kind of sucks in the moment, but when you're done, you're like, that was fun.
like the worst wheeling trip ever.
Nope. That's type 3 fun.
Okay. All right.
That's type 3 fun. So type 3 fun is where shit goes south. Doesn't go to plan, stuff goes sideways. you have a terrible time, but after you're done, you're like, that was kind of fun. And you tell a story about it. So there's 3 types of fun. And your book kind of talks about a little bit, the whole pick your heart, but like there's some pride and some of the best
Overcoming obstacles.
some of the best part of life is on the other side of suffering.
Uh-huh.
So like when I work out in the morning at CrossFit, it sucks. But when you get done, you're glad you did it. Like
you
when
can tell people about your cult, like I'm a CrossFitter.
Right.
Like that's fun.
So whenever we get done, I always tell people like this is the best part of the day because you've done. You're like it can't get any fucking worse than this.
Right.
They say I heard one person talk about, yeah, it sucks going in there. It sucks. Hauling your meat out. It sucks sleeping on the ground. It sucks being wet. But that feeling when you throw that last load of meat on the tailgate of that truck is the best feeling in the world.
Okay.
And that's what we're going for.
Okay.
Is that.
Okay.
And I had more to say, but I pretty much had done, it just ends with that. Like, I'm never going to tell my grandkids about the time I almost went to Alaska, hauled this shit in, and, this story is just going to be worth the loan.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the plan. Like, are we going to kill a caribou? I don't know. But the guaranteed thing is we're going to have an adventure. So that's why I'm doing it, because it's just do hard things.
Fair enough.
Now, hauling the meat out. Most people walk it out.
Mm-hmm. Now walk it out.
Yeah, I'm in protest of this.
Okay.
There's a whole genre of granola people that do pack rafting. So there's a whole cult-like thing of pack rafting. So there are these ultralight blow-up rafts that you can put in a book bag, and you walk up a mountain, blow them up with a bag. There's a bag that you catch air in, and you like squeeze it, and it blows it up. It's actually wildly fast.
Okay.
And it's called pack rafting, and then you raft through the rapids all the way back down to your truck. So we bought pack rafts because we're going to carry these rafts in with us, and there's water everywhere up there.
Okay.
So the goal is to walk in, kill shit, throw it in a raft, and raft out in 34-degree water and hope we don't fucking die of hypothermia. So my plan was to walk. I was like,
I'll see you guys at the fucking truck.
And that's what it was, right? So I'm not buying a boat. I'm not getting hypothermia. I'll carry my fucking meat.
Uh-huh.
So they're like, okay, you do that because the river's going to spit us out, probably not by where the truck is. You walk in a straight line to the truck. We'll take your shit in the boats, and then you come pick us up.
Okay.
I was like, all right, I'm not buying. These boats are like fucking $1,700.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not buying a boat that I'm never going to use again. So plan B is there's jet boats up there everywhere. So you find Jim Bob, who lives in Alaska and can only make money 5 minutes of the fucking year because it's frozen the rest of the time. He's got a jet boat. The saying I've heard from multiple people is $100 bills solve a lot of problems on the tundra.
Okay.
So we're going to bring a stack of cash. You find Jim Bob, who's got a jet boat. Hey, can you run us 20 miles upstream? And then you float downstream and hunt back to the truck. So no walking at all. But if I don't buy a boat, that option is not there.
Okay.
So I end up buying a boat. And I only did it so you can rent them. But essentially, these boats are such a hot commodity used on the hunting classified forums that I'll get a big chunk of my money back out of this. It'll sell immediately.
Okay.
Now, Ryan and Ross say don't sell it because we're going again next year.
Oh, we are?
Because the general consensus is you can't go once.
Okay.
Because the first one's just a practice.
Okay.
And the second one is when you get serious about it.
So here's my take on that. I'm not going, we'll never go. But from all the collective knowledge I have gained in my 34 years on this earth, the first time I do anything, it sucks. The first time I buy anything for a specific purpose, it was the wrong fucking choice. Mm-hmm. So if this is your practice, you bought the Packraft 3.0 limited edition blue model, and then you sell it and you realize I would really like to have the little paddle holders in the fucking gunnels. I'm going to get the Packraft 6.0 orange model for next year.
I'm already finding this stuff out. So we're strapping hundreds of pounds of shit to this raft, right? There's like 2 tie downs on it.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know until last night you can buy additional tie downs.
Okay.
They're $5 a piece. And you like rubber cement them on.
Okay.
But it's too late at this point.
Yeah.
So
the proverbial ship is sailing.
Yeah. So, and then there's like a whole pack rafting like community, like there's like a code of ethics and like so their motto is rig like you're gonna flip and dress like you're gonna swim. And we have nothing to rig to. And how do you swim in 34-degree water? And conventional wisdom would say you need to wear waders, but like the waders are too heavy to carry in already. So, I mean, I don't know. We'll see how it all goes, but everywhere I've heard is you can't just go to Alaska once. And the expensive part's all the gear.
Mm-hmm.
So like a plane ticket's only like $700 and it tags like $300 or something like that. So like, and you split the truck up, the truck rental's only like $1,000 a person. So you could, in theory, go on Alaska hunt for like $2,000 if you have all the equipment.
Right.
So, will I be back to Alaska? We'll see how miserable this is. But Wyatt wants to go really bad. Now he's 7 years old and doesn't understand. But, it'd be cool to go up there with him one time.
Every person I've talked to that's vacationed in Alaska says, I can't wait to go back.
Yeah. So Ryan and Ross said, we're going back next year. And I'm like, well, do you know a good divorce lawyer?
Yeah. I feel like Lauren's been surprisingly supportive of this whole operation.
So she is also understands the do hard things. And, the spice of life is on the other side of doing hard things.
Mm-hmm.
And so she supports it. She's about it. She is not super excited about losing me at work and with the kids for 2 weeks, but she's like, oh, we'll grind through and get it done.
Yeah.
So
what is the compromise that she gets out of this deal?
That's just not how relationships work.
Okay.
So it isn't give one, take one.
I just feel like there's a concession to be made. Like, not that that's how it's supposed to work, but like, I don't know, like she has a cosmetic surgery she wants to do. Like, are we pulling the trigger? You know what I mean? Like,
that's not been requested. Right now, our whole house is popcorn ceiling.
Right.
And it was kind of falling off. And she's like, well, if you get to go to Alaska, I'm redoing the popcorn ceiling and making
that's not how relationships work. That was what I was talking about.
Right,
like, that's the concession.
But we were going to do that anyway, so it really don't count.
It does fucking count because it's a goddamn win in the Dozer column. Paching.
So like you got your friends. Like I got a friend, if he buys a Jeep part, his wife had to buy something of equal value. Well, then all suddenly everything's twice as expensive.
Right.
And if you keep track in a relationship, if you keep score in a relationship, someone's got to be a loser.
Okay.
So we've learned from the beginning, don't keep score because someone's going to be a loser when you keep score.
That makes sense.
So you just work together and grit it through, and you ask her, what do you want? And she don't want nothing. Her hobby is work. So, we spent way more money on buying that business than we did on my hunt. So here we are. Though it does make money, but let's not, go there.
And we have a really awesome laser that we can play with now too.
Dude, speaking of which, my wife is on the prize committee because that's what we do for a living.
Oh yeah.
And they needed ice cream buckets.
Yep.
To put the chips in for the stands. Like you buy chips and that's how you play the games.
Yep.
And she's like, I'm just going to cut them in there with a box cutter. I was like, first off, no, you're not.
Actually.
So she bought 25 ice cream buckets because the used ice cream buckets all didn't match and she couldn't have that. So she bought brand new ice cream buckets on Amazon, which were very reasonable. like $1 a piece.
Okay.
And she's like, I'm just going to cut them in with a knife. I was like, actually, no, you're not. And I jigged them up in the laser and cut 4 at a time.
Heck yeah.
So we did that today. That was super cool. So now they're all exactly in the middle, exactly all the same size, the same width. Like, it was just cool.
They just look and feel professional.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, nothing's been asked yet, I guess. But that's just kind of not how we operate. And it honestly makes her mad when it's like, what do you get out of this? When people say that, and her answer will be, that's not how relationships work.
Fair enough.
So.
Okay. So let's talk about burning gunpowder.
Okay.
We have an unhealthy relationship or an unhealthy practice of, instead of recording a podcast on Monday nights like we should be doing, I bring a case of Twisted Teas over to your house, so we just shoot guns. Which,
okay, well, in all fairness, my wife plays pickleball on Monday nights, so I've got the kids. So what better way to watch your children than with alcohol and guns?
absolutely.
So proceed with the Borfill.
So we also are teaching Wyatt
The finer point.
finer points of being a sore loser, I guess. We were probably a little hard on him because he's shooting his Henry 22, and we're like getting frustrated because and I have to like always I struggle with this, but like listen with John Deloney and stuff. Like the 7-year-old brain is not the same as the 34-year-old brain. Like he is not, he isn't grasping concepts at the speed that we're grasping them. And it's stuff that, we know for a fact that he doesn't know, but as like a social construct, he pretends to know because he wants to fit in with the adults. So like, it's frustrating for us because like, no, you actually don't know. Act like a child, be a child, and he's trying to act like an adult because he's around adults and trying to fit in, right? So long story short, he's struggling with shooting, and we were kind of hard on him about it, and he was like, screw this, and gets up, like just goes inside and starts crying to himself. And
Well, the backstory is it's squirrel season,
yeah,
and he wants to shoot a squirrel terribly bad. So we had a squirrel in the front yard, and it was super close, sitting there eating a walnut out on a naked branch. Perfect. So he has a 22 rifle with a scope. Doesn't want to use that. He wants to use the 22 rifle without a scope, which is a lever action Henry 22 youth model. And I think he likes to use it because it's a smaller gun. He can hold it better.
which did you notice when we got the 1022 out? He was like, this is way lighter than I remembered.
Right. Because
So whatever time elapsed from him having the 1022 to him getting the Henry, he obviously grew, and his memory of the 1022 being so heavy and bulky and like way bigger than him as a 5-year-old or whatever, and then he grabs this Henry like, oh, this is manageable, but he didn't have it ever from side by side to realize that there was a difference, or not much of a difference. So
But here's the maddening thing about it. His 1022 we have a youth stock for, and he won't use it. He wants the adult stock on there.
Right.
So we put it on there, and now he can't, or didn't shoot it very well. But like, well, let's put this other stock back on. No, I don't. It's just maddening.
because he doesn't know what he doesn't know.
Well, and like you try to give him advice, and he goes against the grain. Like when he's going fishing, like I always make the joke, like, Wyatt, what are you using for bait fishing? Oh, well, he's got a twig, a leaf, and a piece of deer sausage tied onto the line with no hook. Wyatt, well, you really need to have a hook on there. Well, I don't want a hook. The dune catfish, the mystery fish in this pond won't bite on a hook. And like he makes up this bullshit, which is fine. I like the imagination, but then when he doesn't catch anything, he gets mad and discouraged. It's like, well, if you would listen to some advice. So I actually appreciate you coming out on Monday nights. And if you notice, I kind of let you just take over because Dad is the hometown prophet.
Yeah, Dad's an idiot. He doesn't know nothing.
Dad doesn't know nothing. But when Sam is giving advice, Sam's the cool Uncle Toolman Sam.
Yeah.
And
Long barrel Sam.
yeah, he kind of listens to Sam a little bit because I don't know a goddamn thing, which I'm probably the same way with my dad. But
And I don't do it on purpose, but like I was sitting between you and him when he was shooting, and I wasn't trying to be controlling or mean or anything about it, but I tried to be like, all right, Wyatt, take your time. And he's like, 2 bullets come out every time you pull the trigger. Like,
Sam
no.
was like, for the love of God, stop double tapping your rifle. He's like,
And like the hardest part is like when your kid says a cuss word, you want to just bust out laughing, but you can't because you're the adult, and the adult has to be the mature one. But unfortunately, I am immature as fuck. Wyatt is arguably more mature than me.
well, we were shooting at like an 18-inch disc blade, and
Yeah.
he was like mag dumping, but hitting the disc blade. So how can you tell him not to mag dump when he hits it? You know what I mean? It's like,
It was a good time.
but I appreciated you giving him advice. So in between Wyatt practicing to shoot a squirrel, which he was shooting at a Twisted Tea can, unrelated to our drinking activities, and he thought he was missing it, but I think he was hitting it.
It was going through it.
Just going through it, but
Because then you like missed it, quote unquote,
Yeah.
3 or 4 times. I'm like, you're fucking missing that. Like, no, it's going through. Like, no, it ain't.
So he went and picked it up. It's full of holes. Well, before we realized he was hitting it, he was all down. Oh, I'm never going to be good at this ball. Well, he's hitting it the whole time.
So you know what you need to do? Frozen water bottles.
Or just water bottles and something like that, something more reactive. Or I want to cut out a squirrel out of steel that he can, hang it from like a T-post so he can hit it in here and go bing and have it move or something. So, we tried to explain to him that, quitting is not how you get better at something.
Right.
But it was going south. But in between that, I've got this hunt coming up, and I've got this medium frame 5-shot 44 Magnum with a 4-inch barrel that is my protection against bears. So I've shot it some over the summer, and I better shoot a couple more times. And I've got like a chest holster. It's from the company Gunfighter, super, fancy, back into that, Venn diagram shit.
Yeah.
So, I practiced drawing it and shooting, draw and shoot, draw and shoot. Well, I'm shooting at this 18-inch disc blade, and
From like 7 feet away.
it was farther. It was 10 yards, right? That's 30 feet. Not doing that great. Really not doing that good. And
I was loving every minute of it.
at the point that, my only hope is that the bear goes deaf from how loud this son of a bitch is.
Because it's loud. Hopefully the noise scares the motherfucker away.
So then I'm like, I'll try it one-handed. You know what I mean? So I start shooting it one-handed, and we start hitting the disc blade.
Nailed it.
And so, I'm basically Dirty Harry of the 44 mag. And
Sure.
so I've talked to some of my gun police officer friends, because once again, shooting a pistol accurately is a whole subculture hobby,
Yeah.
a whole lifestyle thing. And I was like, hey, this is what I got going on. Everybody's like, well, you're anticipating recoil. I was like, no shit.
It's a 44 4-inch Magnum.
Yeah, it's a medium frame 44 mag shooting bear loads. I'm anticipating recoil.
Because there's gonna be.
I'm promising you. So, but yeah, if a bear charges, it's one-handed, baby.
Yeah. So luckily, there's 2 other small arms fire that will be discharging simultaneously.
If anybody is listening to this and is going to go on a hunt in bear country and wants a bear pistol, there's 2 popular choices: a bigger caliber revolver or a 10 millimeter and an auto, like a Glock 20, Springfield XDM. There's some other shit out there, but so 10 millimeters picking up popularity pretty heavily.
Right.
And actually, there's been accounts of people shooting grizzly bears with 9 millimeters.
Okay.
So they'll kill them dead. They'll shoot right through them. If you have like
The right ammo.
if you have like a hard cast lead bullet, 9 millimeter will go through and through a grizzly bear.
Okay.
So I got doing some numbers, and the autism kicked in, and the 44 mag has significantly more energy than a 10 millimeter.
Okay.
And I was like, man, I just really like to have the knockdown. And then you kind of get into like, well, if I've got a 10 millimeter pistol, I could buy 10 or a 44 mag pistol. I could buy a 44 mag rifle, deer hunt within Illinois. It just made sense. Accuracy firearms, the revolver was about the same. I'm just going to do 44 mag, bigger is better, America. Well, I get this thing. It's a damn handful. Can't hardly shoot it.
Mm-hmm.
I should have got 10 millimeter because instead of 5 big booms, I could have a 10 millimeter and have 15 or 20 little booms.
With a reload at the ready.
Yeah, that I could shoot accurately. So everybody's like, well, just go buy a 10 millimeter. Like, well, I've already blown $500 and some on this pistol. So this is just it.
Trade it.
Maybe. So
Next year.
Buy the 10 mil.
Next year.
There is an elk guide in Montana that had a grizzly bear charge him and his client, his was like a professional self-defense shooter.
Okay.
And he had a 40 or a 45 ACP with self-defense loads.
Uh-huh.
And the guide had a 10 millimeter with hard cast lead.
Okay.
And the guide ended up killing the bear, broke both front shoulders with his pistol and killed it. The bear was charging his client, who was shooting the bear, and they say like everything goes in slow motion, who was shooting the bear in the head. And every time the gun went off, you could see the dust fly off the bear's head. Didn't even phase him. They said that 45 auto did not even go through the skull.
Because it was a self-defense expanding hollow point, and it just didn't have the inertia to make it through the bear's skulls.
Yes, but didn't even phase it. They said you could see the bullet hitting it and the dust flying off his head and didn't even phase him.
Good to know.
So, but if you start, like, you can buy hard cast 45 auto.
Yeah.
But 45 auto, so velocity.
2 World Wars.
Yeah, right? So energy is
mass times velocity. E equals MC squared.
Yeah, it's square. So it's squared. What's the word I'm looking for? Starts with an E. Exponential.
Oh, okay.
So energy goes up exponentially with velocity.
Right.
So your smaller, faster rounds actually hit harder than your slow, fat ones, which is always the argument, with the whole, like, I'll shoot a 45 because they don't make a 46.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
but in the boomer's defense, a human target is altogether different than a raging animal target.
That's correct. Yeah, because you do not want penetration on a human.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to shoot through them, hit somebody else.
Right.
On a bear, you want penetration.
Yeah.
But like a 45 auto only has like...
I'm just thinking of Burt Gummer. I didn't know. How could I have known? I wanted maximum penetration.
Yeah, I needed. I'm completely out of ammo. This has never
happened to me before.
Yes.
I love that movie.
I needed, whatever volume, and so like your 45 ACP only has like 400 pounds of energy or so. Well, a 10 millimeter has like 800, and a 44 mag has like 1,400 pounds of energy at the muzzle. So, because I have a 45 compact with a 3-inch barrel, it's a 1911. I was going to carry that, but you take a 45 and then put it in a shorter barrel, and it gets even worse.
Oh yeah.
So then you get your 45 gap, and then there's a 45 gap and then 460 Roland. So 45 gap is a 45 ACP that can be ran at higher pressure. Okay. So gap is stands for like Glock. It's something to do with Glock, I think.
Glock auto pistol?
So Glock made a 45, I think, that this could be all wrong, actually. But I know there's a 45 ACP that runs at a higher pressure than standard 45. So I guess in a 45 ACP, your whole case isn't in the chamber.
Okay.
So the back part of your case is on support, so you have to run super low pressure.
Okay.
So in the gap, the 45 gap, I think it's called,
the whole case
is in the chamber. You can run higher pressures.
Copy.
So then there's a whole nother thing called a 45 or a 460 Roland, which is a 45 ACP, but the brass is longer, so you can't chamber it in a 45 ACP or a 45 gap, but it's the same overall length as a 45 ACP, and it runs even higher pressure.
Okay.
And that will turn a 45 into the, like more energy, almost as much energy as a 44 mag.
Okay.
But you have to buy a $600 Glock, and then you have to buy the $500 460 Roland conversion to put all new guts in that gun.
And then you got to buy the 460 Roland bullets, which are probably not cheap.
Right. They are made. They're out there. You can buy them, but it's just, just didn't make sense financially.
Right.
A lot of people run them. A lot of people love them, but
I personally, not for bears, I just want to own a 1911 chambered in 10 millimeter. Now, I know that kind of defeats the purpose of your double stack magazine, but I would like to own a 10 mil pistol.
I remember I watched Ted Nugent kill a deer in Texas with a 10 millimeter 1911.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a badass.
So it's a thing. But yeah, so we're going to see what happens. It's super hard to prepare for something like this because you've never done it. You can only read on the internet, and we're flatlander, we're Midwestern. Like, I've never hunted more than a couple hundred yards from the truck. I did go to Nebraska and hunt mule deer one time, but you kind of get my point. Like, I'm used to, I'm cold, I'll just go home now. And that's not an option anymore.
Kind of tired.
Yeah, I think I'll go home now. So hopefully I live through the deal. As far as bears go, some people say they've been up there 10 years in a row and never seen a bear. Some people say they're covered in bears. So I don't know what the bear situation is going to be like. I hope to not even see one.
So you have a Garmin GPS.
Yes, it's called an InReach.
And okay, I am super intrigued by that. I am looking forward to getting daily text message updates from you.
Well, I need to add you as a contact before I leave civilization then.
Okay.
So.
And if it costs extra money, don't worry about it.
No, it doesn't. I paid the extra, so you've got different tiers, and I just bought the unlimited plan.
Just give it all. Yeah. I want it all, yeah.
Well, it's like $60 versus $30. Like $30 more, I don't have to worry about
upcharges. Yeah, I got you.
So I'll add you now to my contact.
But basically, this thing is, so when we went to the Bahamas trip, I bought or rented a emergency locator beacon from Boat US, and basically it was like a grenade, and if you pull the pin, it starts beeping, and then the Coast Guard comes and rescues you wherever you're at. This is a step further. It's uses satellites to give you Wi-Fi anywhere, I guess, to send a text message. Is that how it works? Or
basically just text message. I don't think I can send pictures. And if you send an emoji, it counts as 4 messages and
it charges you by the message.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Well, I've got unlimited, so it doesn't matter. But
okay.
if I didn't have unlimited, it would be an issue.
So you can't just send a picture here's the fucking caribou I just killed.
I cannot. No, okay. It'll just be words.
Okay.
So
still though, it'd be nice to have an update
and then it does have SOS. And then so this is how they get you.
Yeah.
Everything's just a little bit extra. So they have insurance for $39. If you have to use your SOS, there's no cost to you. And I'm like, that needs to be spent.
Because if you didn't have the insurance, what would an SOS trip cost you?
Who knows? Because they're sending a helicopter. So,
right.
And that's not cheap.
And from a helicopter ride from my house to the hospital is fucking $50,000.
Right.
So, and that's where there's no acclimate weather conditions. Where it doesn't get dark above the Arctic Circle, I'm sure it might be slightly higher of a fucking helicopter rate.
Exactly. So, most people just operate with one in the group. All of us bought one.
Okay.
And that way, if we would ever get separated for some reason, it'd be nice.
Which could happen.
Yeah.
Legit.
So, they're usually $400.
Yep.
They were on sale for $250.
Fair enough.
And so I bought mine, and Ross and Ryan piddled around, boom, back to $400. So they were pretty sour about it. Yeah. So, and those go really good. And it's one of those, do you sell it?
Not if you're going back now.
Use it, you could use it down in Windrock.
Yep.
But I don't know if we'll go back next year, but I think that's one of the things I will sell because I feel like when I go back in 2 or 3 years, there'll be even a newer and better one.
That you can send pictures.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. So, could you imagine hunting 20 years ago? Like, no GPS stuff, no, you had to use a map and whatever else to navigate. And
But and 40 years ago,
yes,
when you just had, as technology wise, you had just as big a handicap, but then like survival gear wise, like you used legit a fucking parka, wool parka or whatever. You didn't have Gore-Tex, you didn't have waterproof freaking hiking boots. Like you like just
Yeah.
leather and wool and fur.
Good
You know what I
luck.
mean? Like, remember the movie Mr. Deeds?
yes,
They're climbing Mount Everest, and the guy's like in like this 1800s, wool jacket or whatever. He's like, Mr. Puffy Jacket Man. And they're like, how are you up here? Like, you're like, that is like zero insulation at all. Thank you, Mr. Puffy Jacket Man. So you are the Puffy Jacket Man on this
Yes.
trip.
yes. Well, wool is like a thing. So, like, you know, all the liberals and stuff hate like animal fur and all that, but like animal fur is like waterproof. It's warm when it's wet, even, and it's a renewable resource. It's like,
Well, you don't hurt a sheep to shave it.
no, right, right.
So like, I think they're like, I mean, a vegan probably still hates it, but like, I think as like far as animal cruelty, I think it's pretty low on the list of shit to
Well,
worry
if you're
about.
wearing like a raccoon cap,
Yeah,
they died, but nobody cares about raccoons.
But that's like a whole nother subject, which I won't get too deep into it. But like, if you think about it, like there's a lot of stuff that's trendy right now that has been around for 100 years. And like, they're realizing like all this advancement in technology was done for profit, not for quality. So like, disposable razors is the only one I'll touch on. Upstairs in my bathroom, in my medicine cabinet, there's a slit in the back for your single blade safety razor. Once you're done with it, you put it, it goes in the wall. And safety razors are making a comeback. Like, people are buying the 50-cent disposable safety razor blades and putting them in a $50 single use razor, or single blade. Like, instead of like the 15 blade Gillette or whatever, it's just a single safety razor blade. And they're like, this is the closest shave you can get. And now there is, different schools of thought on this. Like, you have to hold it at the perfect angle to get a close shave. And like, worth like a disposable safety razor or a disposable multi-blade razor, you can kind of, there's a lot of room for forgiveness, I guess. But like, there's just a lot of things that are making a comeback, like merino wool. Like,
yeah, the wool is huge in the hunting industry.
our ancestors had wool underwear for the last 200 years, and now we've got polyester, and like, people are having like all these like skin rashes and stuff because like, oh, it's moisture wicking or whatever. Like, well, so is wool. You know what I mean? So it's kind of interesting that you've got like wool socks, wool boxers, or whatever else you
Yes.
got. It's like, it's kind of
Wool
interesting.
shirts, wool gator, yeah, wool gloves.
It's interesting that like all this stuff is making a comeback
What's
because
old is new again.
yeah. So
And like the whole bitch to wool is like, it's hard to launder. Like, that's it.
okay.
You know what I mean? Like, everything else about it's great, but
What are the care instructions
well,
for
you're
your wool
supposed to
sock?
like wash them on gentle, and then you can't
Hang dry 'em.
You're not supposed to hang dry them. You're supposed to lay them flat to dry and whatever. But like,
Jesus.
we just throw them in the washing machine, throw them in the dryer, and it's nobody's died. So
I mean, worst case scenario, you shorten the life of them a little bit, right?
yes,
So, in other news, I'm a Browning Satori owner now,
yeah.
which is
Congratulations.
which
Was
is-
it as good as you thought it was going to be?
no, not at all.
It never is. It's kind of like an old car.
Yeah, I don't know if I like it better or worse than my Frankie, but I do like it. I like the fact that it's from 1973, and initially I thought it was broke because my Frankie, you break the action, close the action, with snap caps or whatever, you can pull the trigger twice and it fires both firing pins. Well, this Satori did not do that, and I thought it was broken. So I was like, well, I guess I'll have to drop this off at the gunsmith and have him take a look at it. I brought it out to Dozer's Monday night, and we shot it, and it fires both barrels. So I don't know if it's like an inertia thing. Maybe if you're a Satori guy, let me know. Is it actually broke and just kind of working, or is it just how Satoris are, or is that how old over and unders are? I don't know. But with no bullets in the gun, you have to manually switch the barrel to fire the other firing pin. So I guess I'm just going to drop it off and have it drilled for choke tubes, because it is a fixed full on top and a fixed modified on bottom. And the first 4 clays Dozer threw for me, I completely missed, because I'm used to a wide open skeet choke, and like I just got to get in the neighborhood and I can chip it, you know. But like I was like, oh shit, full choke. So like then I wait a little longer, got on them, and the best part about a full choke when you're shooting skeet is when you hit them, they are gone. They just vaporize, and that's a pretty cool feeling when you vaporize a clay. But I would rather hit percentage more and chip them than dust a less percentage of them, I guess.
Can you imagine when choke tubes first came out? People were like, what is this?
Mind blown, absolutely.
And then you have those dudes who like resisted when automobiles came out. Ain't nothing better than a horse, you know? Like people, I ain't run no choke tubes. Like they'll get loose on you and fall out. Then what are you gonna do? I remember my dad was like that when like releases got big for bows. I'm not gonna shoot no release. You could forget that at home. I ain't ever gonna forget my fingers.
Yes.
But guess who shoots a release now?
Everybody,
including my dad.
Yeah. So anyway, so I'm kind of, I like it. I'm a big fan of vintage firearms, which we've talked about that before. I'm not going to get rid of it. I really like it.
I really like that, so I will be using it. That's the thing about Sam. You don't ever have to buy anything off of him. He'll just let you use it.
That's right. So I just have another over and under now. But my next project is I'm going to create a shell holder, and I'm going to practice using my auto loader to shoot flurries with. So that's next on the list of stuff. So I don't know. I love shotguns more so than pistols, like in rifles. Like I don't know. Maybe it's because of the ease of use and the gratification from hitting a target versus poking a hole in a piece of paper. I don't know. And the cost of ammo is not a bad thing either. So.
Yeah, well, when the only thing you do with guns is shoot clay pigeons, I could see how shotguns would be more interesting.
But, like, I don't know. I do want to get the Creedmoor out and shoot at Sportsman's Club, so we'll have to do that soon, but.
We can do that. I
don't know. What else is there to talk about? I feel like there was something else we need to talk about.
The old 1986 Honda is still running good. So.
Yep, running good. I thought I helped you by tuning it, but according to Brett Lawrence, I made it worse. So you may address that in the future. But
yeah, well, that'll be another Monday night.
Sure. What are we doing this Monday night?
Well, probably getting ready for Alaska.
What time are you leaving Tuesday?
Middle of the day-ish.
Oh, okay. So it's not like you have to leave at 3 a.m. or anything.
No.
So we're going to Florida next weekend for the tool show. I'm getting a hotel room Wednesday night, and then the hotel like lets you park there for free, and they give you a ride to the airport for free. I don't know who told me about that life hack, but it is the best thing ever, because if you want to apples it, you know, they drop you off at the door, right? Like you walk 4 foot and you're inside the airport. Mm-hmm. So apples to apples would be like the A parking garage, which is $25 a day. So if you're gone for 3 days, that's $75. We're going to be gone Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, coming back Monday. So that's 4 days. That's $100 in parking. The room is $130 with taxes and everything. So the parking's free. The shuttle's free. So is it worth $30 to you to get a good night's sleep the day before you leave on vacation or a trip? Ryan, his flight is at 6:30 in the morning on Thursday morning. Ours is at 8:30. You know, arguably you could get there in time, but the
Right.
cost is a wash. So
Get up, eat the free breakfast.
Yeah.
Grab your old lady a little bit. And
so he is getting up. He is leaving Effingham at 2 a.m. to get to the airport to get on his plane to go to Florida. And then like I asked him, I was like, "Why are you leaving so early?" Well, so we have all day Thursday to do stuff in Orlando. Like, yeah, and you got up at 2 a.m. You'll be ready for bed by 4 o'clock.
right.
Like, whatever, dude. And I tried to tell him, I was like, "Why don't you get the hotel room?" He was like, "Yeah, well, see, the hotel room, the big hotel mafia or whatever,
Right.
they're out to get you because." I had a customer that he used to do that all the time, and they're catching on to that. They're catching on to you using them to park, and they're charging for parking. I was like, maybe like the Hilton charges you to park, but like there's 18 hotels.
Drury Inn.
Yeah, the Drury Inn and there's 8 hotels across the fucking street from the airport, and like it's advertised in giant letters on a banner out free motherfucking parking for
Right.
airport travel. Like that's why they built the hotel there. Was for people like me who don't want to park in a garage and want a free ride to the fucking airport. Like I guarantee you 99.9% of their business is people on a work trip or on a weekend vacation or like I think you can park up to a week for free. Absolutely free. So anyway, he's like, "Oh, I'll have to look into that. I guarantee you won't do it." I don't know. What?
Oh, the minimalist movement is a ploy from Big Less to sell more less.
Yeah. Which he's like, "Well, we'll have to pack an extra day's clothes." Like, oh, fucking.
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
Like, who fucking cares? And like, so then the best thing is when we went last weekend or last month, brought an extra blanket, like all the extra shit. Like they give you like a little tiny trash bag to put clothes in. So the clothes we wore, Thursday night down to the hotel, we put in a trash bag and I put it in my Jeep in the parking lot. I didn't have to fly with them.
Yeah, we did the same thing when we went to Mexico for my brother's wedding.
Yeah.
We got screwed because we flew out at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
or whatever.
Couldn't get the continental breakfast. It doesn't start till 6.
You don't get breakfast. And the shuttle don't start running till 4 a.m. And our flight was at 4 a.m.
Oh no.
So we had to Uber 2 blocks from the hotel to the airport at 2 a.m. How much do you think that was?
Was it an Uber XL for you and all the kids?
Yeah, it was a van.
$42.
It was like 100.
What?
Yes.
Was it like surge pricing or something?
Yeah, something like that.
What hotel did you stay in?
Like the Drury Inn, I think. But so we did get the free parking, but we did not get the free shuttle.
So we stayed in the Drury Inn once, but the one right next to that is it's the hotel just next door to that. I just got the email. Where's it at?
Anyway, so then on the way back, I tell my wife, I was like, call the hotel, let them know to come pick us up. And they're like, oh, they just made a round. It'll be 30 minutes. And Lauren's like, I'm not waiting 30 minutes. So we Ubered back to the hotel.
How much was it that time?
Like $10.
Oh, God.
So that was worth it. So we did not get any free shuttle, but we did get free parking. And we did get a few hours of sleep that night. So
4 in the morning. Was it a cheaper flight, I guess, to go at 4 in the morning?
that was like the only flight.
Gotcha.
So it was one of those. So like, follow me on this. So originally it was 6 in the morning.
The Wingate by Wyndham. They will, because I asked them, they will bring the shuttle will run 24 hours a day. So it's literally right next door to the Drury Inn, the Wingate, and it's a nicer hotel than the Drury, and like $10 more.
So our flight was at like 8 in the morning, and then they're like, your flight has been canceled. You have been rebooked for 4 in the morning.
Oh,
So it was one of those, but it worked out because then we had extra time on our connecting flight, which we only had like 30 minutes.
which is a hustle.
Yeah, with 2 kids and all that jazz. So anyway,
Yeah.
so what'd you learn?
Okay. I learned that the Short Story Long podcast now has a book club.
Okay.
So we have a new segment every week for Shit Wyatt Says, and we'll have to add to that new books we've read this week, I guess, which will be like new books we've read this quarter, since we only do this podcast quarterly now.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. Poison ivy can surprise you.
Yeah.
And hindsight's 2020 on poison ivy.
That's true.
The hunting trip is going to be miserable. Can't wait.
That's right. I literally have that written. And so we have like a exercise app, and we like share it to like gaslight each other and exercise more, to get in better shape. And I walk through the woods around my house and go, that really sucked. Can't wait.
Yeah.
So,
there's 3 types of fun.
mm-hmm.
Did not know that before
look
this
it up.
podcast.
It's the thing.
Okay.
You've had a lot of type 3 fun with Boss Man.
I have had a lot of type 3 fun, just period.
Yeah.
But most of it was with Boss Man,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't know what that, like, there's a psychology Sam moment in there somewhere. Yeah. Like John Deloitte podcast, like they talk a lot about therapy.
Yeah.
Amanda sent like a reel or whatever today. Like, I don't think I want to try therapy. What if they fix me and I'm not fun anymore?
Yeah.
I was thinking about that. Like, I wonder what a therapist would legit say about my life. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like, I feel like I'm doing pretty good.
There's all those like reels, like dudes will legitimately go hike out into the wilderness and hunt for 10 days instead of go to therapy.
Or start a podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Hate it, bro. Yeah, bro. Hate it. Yeah.
Granola people is a thing.
Yeah.
Granola people, because you
Yeah.
said that, like, okay, what's a granola people? But it makes sense.
It's like people who drive Subarus and hike in the mountains without
aren't
doing
lesbians.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
There is a code of ethics in the pack raft community.
There is.
And probably the most important thing I learned on this podcast is that when you keep score, there's always a loser.
That's right.
That's profound.
Deep.
That is profound.
I've been living on that for years. I'm sorry I haven't shared that.
You have done me a disservice as a
And
friend.
now you'll start noticing in other people's relationships when they are going south, you're like, they're keeping score.
So like, I don't want to say like me and my girlfriend keep score, but if we do, it's like lightheartedly, I guess, if that makes sense.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe a therapist would tell me that deep down that's a sign of something tragically wrong or something. I don't know.
Something's always tragically wrong.
Well, that's true.
But you've seen it before, right? Like,
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So,
Yeah.
like,
It happens between my boss and his brother. Like, they keep score with like, oh, well, Brad went on a trip, so now Scott's got to go do this, or Scott did this, and now Brad's got to go do this. Like, the only thing that's hurting is the business.
yeah, like, why don't you just work together and,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, which, hey, I'm not even going to go down this rabbit hole. What did you learn today, Dozer?
Well, I didn't write much stuff down because I felt like I was doing most of the teaching today.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote, one thing is, why don't I just go get the money and pay off my mortgage?
Thanks, Wyatt.
Yeah. The most expensive place you can be is in the middle of a Venn diagram on a lot of expensive hobbies.
Okay.
Your bug bites might actually be poison ivy.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Can you read your handwriting?
I can't read it. Something corrupt, incompetent. I don't know.
All right.
I
I learned Dozer has shit handwriting.
Yeah, everybody knew that. I also learned I shoot a pistol better one-handed.
At least a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, shoot.
lots of practice using one hand for a big pistol.
Yep. Fair enough. Oh, man. That was a good time. We need to.
I also learned you got to be careful on teaching people how to spot a pedophile because you might just be writing a how-to book.
Yeah. And they talked about, like, so Jody talked about writing this book. He's like, I had to be careful to write it in such a way that like a pedo wouldn't use it as pornography, essentially.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Like telling his story like some
Like an erotic
sick,
novel.
yeah, sicko would think it's an erotic novel. Yeah.
Shit.
There's a lot of sick people in this world.
Yes. You'd prefer not to think about it, but I guess not thinking about it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Some people have to. It's their job.
Ugh. God bless them. They're like the people who deal with the sewer and stuff like that. Like, somebody's got to do it.
Yep. So, well, guys, thanks for riding along with us.
Yeah.
And
if I live through the tundra, I'll see you guys when I get back.
all right, thanks for riding along with us, guys. We'll see you
Later.
It'll be fine by dusk, but I'm telling you, baby, these things eat at your bones and drive your young mind crazy. But when you place your head between my collar and jaw, I don't know much, but there's no weight at all. I'm damned if I do, and I'm damned if I don't. 'Cause if I say I miss you, I know that you won't. But I miss you in the mornings when I see the sun. Something in the orange tells me we're not done. To you I'm just a man, to me you're all I am. Where the hell am I supposed to go? Poison myself again, something in the orange tells me you're never coming home. Need to hear you say you've been waiting all night. There's orange dancing in your eyes from bulb light. Your voice only trembles when you try to speak. Take me back to us dancing this wood used to creep. To you I'm just a man, to me you're all I am. Where the hell am I supposed to go? I poison myself again, something in the orange tells me you're never coming home. To you I'm just a man, to me you're all I am. Where the hell am I supposed to go? I poison myself again, something in the orange tells me you're never coming home. If you leave today, I'll just stare at the way the orange touches all things around. The grass, trees, and dew, how I just hate you. Please turn those headlights around. Please turn those headlights around.